This is a Bramble Jam podcast. Hi there, I'm Bran. I love Hallmark movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark movies.
And I am Bethany Joy Lenz, and I am in Hallmark movies.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast. They said it would never happen.
Who said it?
The people out there.
I
They said
don't
it would
like
never
those
happen.
people. I don't want them
The
around.
good news is we can clear the inbox out because we finally got Bethany Joy Lenz on the podcast. Everyone can stop calling us, stop contacting us. We did it, okay?
We did it.
Gosh.
We did it. Bethany Joy Lenz is here. We've been instructed to call her Joy.
That's
Nothing else.
That's right.
So Joy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Gosh, if I'd have known I had that much power, I would have had you call me like Tiger or something.
Tiger it is,
All
my
right.
friend.
Tiger of all the
don't.
things.
That's my Starbucks name. That's what I use on my Starbucks cups.
Yeah, they don't want. Nobody wants to. She don't want to accidentally, get caught in a celebrity situation
No.
where somebody heard the name Joy and they were like, "Bethany Joy Lenz is here." Oh my gosh.
The problem is that my name in a large room ends up sounding like, ah. So like, I never know when they're calling my name.
I was about to say it's very hard to screw up Joy. It's 3 letters. Like Joy would be the perfect Starbucks cup name, you would think.
No, you'd be so surprised. Jolie, Julie, Joey. Like people can't quite get it. I don't understand why, but I go with Tiger because it's kind of singular and concise. Easy to hear.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
Getting good
love
tips
it.
for Starbucks orders. Joy over here.
All right, that's actually what we brought you on here for.
That's right.
So
We're
thank
good.
you.
Merry
We're
Christmas.
good to
Have a
go.
good one.
Thank you. See you later.
This is so exciting. We've seen quite a few of your movies at this point, doing this podcast for the last few years. So excited to dive into those. But we always like to start at the beginning because there's always a moment in each actor's life where they're like, you know what? I want to give this a try. What was it for you early on where you were like, acting, let's give it a go?
Well, I was an only child, and I don't know. I mean, truly, probably both my parents were working, and I was like, I had tons of attention, of course, and love from them, but I also was like trying to find my place in the world. And I don't know, I kind of always felt a little like on the outside, like I didn't really fit anywhere. And I remember going to do I'd always liked performing, like singing songs in front of people at church, or I did a fashion show, a mother-daughter fashion show at the Dillard store when I was 5. And I don't know, it was just like something to do, I guess. And I liked the interaction with the crowd. I liked performing. So my parents enrolled me in something in Dallas called CATS, which is Creative Arts Theater School. And it's no longer there, sadly. It closed down a few years ago, but it was a great place. They had it was a whole building full of classes. So you would go and you would find where your dance class was, where your theater class was, your voice class, your whatever it was that you had signed up for, and you would go. And I would just spend hours there after school, going from class to class, and I loved it. And then I started doing plays, and it just sort of was like, man, this is such a natural fit. I know I fit here, so and just never stopped.
Wow. So it seems like you're pretty close with your parents. And are you from Texas?
So yeah, I lived in Dallas, big D, little A, double L A, yes, until I was 11, and then moved to New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey girl, but I also have a lot of Southern in me.
So, Texas to Jersey, that's quite a stretch. Yes. So what was the move about? You're just like your parents' work or something?
Yeah, my grandmother had passed, and the house that my father had grown up in, her home, was available, as was a job transfer at the same time for my dad. So it all just seemed to align. Wow. And I think it was just like, let's go. Let's move our life.
So when did you decide I'm going to try to make a go of this as a career? Like, I know it's fun. I went to the CATS thing, but when did you decide, okay, like, I don't know if that's to move to LA or just I'm going to hire an agent. Like, when was it that you went, I'm going to try to make a living doing this?
When I was 12, I went to Dallas TV. When I was 10 or 11, I did this Dallas TV and film thing program, and we would go to LA every pilot season for like a week and audition and try and do pilots. And I got a great response, and I thought maybe I could really do this. So then when we got to New Jersey, my mother called a child talent agent named Nancy Carson, who was actually just featured in the back page of the New York Backstage this month, actually. She's still around and she's still kicking butt. And she had written a book that my mom read. And she said, I think my daughter really wants to do this. And she's auditioning for the Mickey Mouse Club in Texas before we move. So if she makes it to the final round, when we get to New York or New Jersey, will you meet with her? And Nancy answered my mother, and she said, yes, if she makes the final round, then I will meet with her. And I did. I even made the entertainment page in the newspaper in Dallas, in my green vest and my checker tie, my bowling hat, my long blonde braid at, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, I guess. And my mom, I think, sent the clipping over to Nancy, and she was like, she made it. So I got to New York and I met with Nancy and sang for her and read for her, and she signed me, and I started working. I started getting really close on a lot of Broadway shows, but what I was booking a lot of was commercials and TV pilots and TV guest spots, a lot of sitcom stuff. I was being flown out to LA for screen tests constantly. And it just, I was young, that was between the ages of 12 and 14. And then I got a movie when I was 14. I think it just kind of, there wasn't like one particular moment. It was just a slow burn of, I think this is working. I think this is working. Yeah. This is working.
I know the moment, Joy. It's Salty's Salvation Celebration.
I was going to ask you. I always like to go to the first thing on IMDb because it's almost always bizarre.
Is that on IMDb?
It's your first thing. Now, as Shelley Barnes.
My dad, Joy, is a Southern Baptist pastor, and so I was steeped in the world of Salty, and so I'm talking to a true celebrity here.
Dude, your dad's going to be pumped.
That's right. This is a big deal.
Meeting Larry the Cucumber or something.
That's right. This is Larry before Larry was a thing. Right. So I've got to have an inside scoop on your time on Salty.
Oh my gosh. So my mom worked at Word Incorporated. She was in personnel. I think she might have been right after the president. Maybe she worked for him. And so I don't know. I was a kid, so who pays attention to what your parents do when you're a kid? But anyway, she worked at Word, and they were making a movie of Salty. My mom was like, my kid likes to act, so do you want to have her audition? And they were like, sure. So I went and auditioned, and I got this part. And it was so bizarre. I mean, that movie is like, you should get high and watch that movie, probably. I think. It's it was very hot. Here's what I remember. I remember the guys in the costumes, the Salty and the rat guy, risky rat.
Risky rat. That's right.
Really nice guys. And always pouring sweat because it was summer in Texas, and they're in these giant, like Barney kind of suits. And I remember really getting along with the kids playing. The other kid I was on the journey with, I can't remember their names or their character names, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's more than fair.
And I remember the makeup artist was so mean to me. I don't know why. I just remember crying all the time.
Mean makeup artist. How dare they?
And I know. And then I remember the last scene in the jungle was on a big sound stage, but it was like, so being that young and being in the middle of a production and seeing how it all works. And it really felt like a real movie, and such a cool way to get my feet wet. It was awesome.
That makeup artist should have known better, because you are easily the most famous person that was in Salty Salvation Celebration. Looking at this particular cast.
Well, aside from Salty himself.
God bless her.
It's Salty.
Who knows? You know what? Everybody goes through that days.
Yeah. That's right. Here's another IMDb related question. Sometimes it says, when you are credited but as like a different name. And there's a few movies or shows or TV programs where you're credited as Joie Lenz. What was going on there? Was there an identity crisis going on? How did that happen? And how did you settle on just your standard JOY?
There is always an identity crisis going on. I'm an actor. But JOIE happened when I was 13. I just wanted to change my name. I never really liked my name, so I thought maybe I'll change it to JOIE, and that'll be fun and interesting. So I did that just in my personal life. And everyone who I still today know from when I was 13 on spells my name JOIE.
Wow.
Yeah, like I have a friend who, a good friend that I've known since I was 16, 17 years old. And yeah, when he texts me, he still says it's still JOIE because that's just how all my friends knew me for the longest time.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I got One Tree Hill, I decided to, I was going through I don't know, spiritual moment in my life. I wanted to sort of embrace who I was when I was born. I don't know. Anyway, I decided on Bethany Joy Lenz at that point, and then I've just been kind of waffling ever since.
More than fair. I do want to talk about One Tree Hill and Guiding Light, but first I ask this to every guest we have because it's fascinating to me. Do you have a memorably bad audition? Like an audition that, like, I know every actor's like, oh, there are a ton of bad auditions, but one that you left and you went, that's an all-timer. Like, they're not calling. Like, that is an all-timer. I can't believe I went in there and just did that. Do you have one of those, like, you can remember?
I have two.
Okay.
I have one from when I was, 14 years old, and it was for Sleeping Beauty, the musical in New Jersey Regional Theater somewhere. And I don't know what happened. I just got on stage and it was like every piece of bad acting that was in me floating around just came up. And every line that I said, I was like, what? Why did I just do it that way? And then finally I was like, look, I'm just going to sing. And then they'll be like, okay, she's great. So then maybe they'll give me a chance to do the scenes again. I don't know what happened. My voice just wouldn't work. And I remember actually hearing, it was one of those auditions where you stand on stage and there are people, everybody who's auditioning is all in the theater waiting and watching all the auditions go on. And I remember hearing people laughing at me in the back of the theater.
Oh, man.
I mean, you have to be crazy to want to be an actor. It's constant rejection, constant this kind of, like, what 14-year-old wants to stand on stage and hear people laugh at them and then come back for more? You have to be crazy.
And that's after the Salties makeup, lady. So this is serious.
Yeah. One punch after the other.
What's the other one?
The other one was for a pilot. This is really a moment that I still, when I think of, I cringe. And I don't know what went wrong, except that it was for a pilot to play Zach Levi's wife.
Okay.
And I'm funny. Like, I grew up doing sitcoms. I was mostly hired for sitcoms before I got One Tree Hill, actually. So that was sort of my world. And I don't know what happened. And I had gotten the audition actually from one of his close friends recommended me. So now there was a lot riding on it because it was like my friends, was vouching for me. So I went in and it was a small boardroom, like executives at a long boardroom rectangular table, which was unusual. And I stood at the end of the boardroom, almost like I should be giving some sort of PowerPoint presentation. And instead, I proceeded to miss the timing of every single joke and line. And I wasn't reading with Zach. I was reading with somebody else, and I thought I would be reading with him. And I don't know if it was the chemistry with the person I was reading with. So much of that in comedy depends on being able to like bounce off the other person. So I don't know what happened. But all I know is when I left that room, I went to shake Zach's hand, and he just looked at me with these big, sad puppy dog eyes like, That was abysmal. And I feel so bad and embarrassed for you. And he just put both of his hands around my hand and just looked at me with that, like, you are never going to get this job.
Never, ever, ever. God bless you. Bless your heart. You're wonderful. But the door is right over there.
The double handshake is never a good sign.
The double hand's not good.
It's never good.
But little did he know you had plenty of work ahead of you. On a soap opera for 50 episodes, which is like a month and a half. That's a shooting. But there's so much to talk about, but you're on One Tree Hill for its entirety, right? 180 some episodes.
That's right.
Tell us not just about that experience, but I more importantly than that, I don't know if we've talked to someone yet who's been on almost 200 episodes of the same scripted television show, aside from a soap opera, which I think is in a category of itself because it's just almost sheer memorization at some point. Do you go through these hills and valleys where you feel like you get burned out on a character? I mean, that's years and years, and that's a decade of your life. Are there times when you're like, man, I don't know if I can play Haley today. I don't know if that's something I can do, or is this something that you just treasured all 180 episodes of and it was just all rise for you?
No, it's like every other job. I mean, there's always going to be, the grass always is greener on the other side, right? So there's a lot of learning to appreciate what you have that goes into it. Plus, we were so young. So yeah, it was like thrilling and exciting. And there were so many super cool things that were happening and amazing opportunities. But yeah, I mean, you're still showing up at the same day, looking at the same people. It's and they have to look at you, everybody's just like, oh God. There are definitely days where it's really hard. And not to mention the fact that you're playing with your emotions for a living. You're manipulating your emotions for a living. So, I mean, talk about having a hard day and having to go to work and do comedy, or, being in a really happy mood, maybe for the first time in like a few weeks. Maybe it's been a rough few weeks and like, I'm having a great day and now I got to go to work and cry. And it messes with you a little bit, so there's a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, I love that character. Of course, it got stale sometimes. And I think that showed in a lot of different ways. Probably why I changed my hair color so many times, because I was like, I have to do something to make this feel interesting for me. But at the end of the day, we all really respected the fact that we were being welcomed into someone's home. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of avenues in this world career-wise where you get welcomed into someone's home and you have the ability to affect them for better or worse with storytelling. And I think it's just one of the most beautiful and sacred jobs that you can do, to be allowed into someone's home and heart. And that's something I really learned from being on that show for so long, and seeing the impact even now that show has still had on people.
Yeah. How did you end up booking it in the first place? What was that situation like? Did they bring it to you? How long was the audition process and all that stuff?
They had sent me the script. I had been sent a script for an audition when it was called Ravens. I turned it down because I didn't even really read the script. It just didn't seem like something I was in the mood to do, I guess, that day. So I didn't go with the audition. And then 6 to 8 months later, my manager called me back and said, here's the pilot from that show that you didn't go on the audition for, and they're recasting a role, and I really think you should go on it, watch the pilot. And I watched it and I loved it. I still think that pilot is just so good. And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. So I went, I had my audition. I was actually in the same room with Sophia when I auditioned. She and I sat in the waiting room together. And yeah, I read for it, and then they brought me in to test, and it was just sort of magic in the room when we did our screen test. I tested with Chad, and it was like a moment. You just I felt the whole room shift. I left that audition knowing I had the part for sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I'm interested from an actor's perspective. I know a lot of people that watch a TV show for many seasons like this one, there comes a point like when you watch the series as a whole where you're like, they should have like ended it like a season early as an or 2 seasons or whatever. As an actor, do you have that perspective where you're like, I feel like we're playing with fire at this point,
It's
but let's
such
just
a
keep.
shame. It's a shame that her face wasn't on the screen for that because her reaction was priceless.
What's it like as an actor when it's so many seasons in?
Let's be honest. A dog ate a heart in a hospital.
That's right.
I mean, I think we jumped the shark several times.
But like, I guess the better way to put it, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there are these shows that are like, is the network going to renew us? Like, cause it's syndication money. And so it's like season 2, you're like, yeah, season 3, it's like season 4, syndication. When you're like, season 9, yeah. Like, are you pulling against it at that point? Are you kind of going, okay, can they not renew us? Like, where are you with that?
Well, we all had options in our contract to be able to get out.
Oh.
So we all renewed except for Hillary and Chad for the 6th or 7th season. I can't remember. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we definitely we definitely jumped the shark with the writing. We definitely like got to the point where there's like, I don't know what's happening anymore. What is the show about? Is the show about like hometown people? Is the show about somebody getting kidnapped by the Russian mafia? And like, I just don't know what's happening. Yeah. So there was a lot of that, but also, I mean, job stability is alluring to say the least. And it was a great paycheck and we were working. Yeah. And it's scary as an actor it's a real double-edged sword because if you leave early enough, you still have lots of time to do other things in your career. And there's still a chance that, a lot of people will be able to see you as something other than that one character. But going with that, there's also the chance that no one will hire you again, and you just may never work again. Or if you stay, then you have the job security. But the longer you stay, the longer you tie yourself to the public seeing you as only that character, and the more difficult you make it for yourself in the future to be hired for other things, to be seen in other ways.
When you get recognized in public, like if somebody comes up and says, "Oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan," is it for One Tree Hill or is it for Hallmark more? Which happens more?
It's usually One Tree Hill. Yeah, I mean, it depends on where I am, though. I guess now it's more Hallmark. I still get some Guiding Light people, believe it or not.
Wow. I mean, 48 episodes of a soap opera is not even like a percent. Like, that's a very small amount for people to know you from Guiding Light, right?
I only do 40 episodes? That can't be right.
Well, it says that's what it says in IMDb, but
what do they know? What do they know?
No.
It says you were born in it says you were born in 93. It says you were born in 93, Joy. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes, it is. I want to know, after doing a show for so long, what's it like afterwards where you have to like audition for stuff again? And there's a long period of time where you can't do much because you're booked for this amount of time and you can't like go out for pilot season and stuff. What's it like afterwards where you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to remember how to audition again? Was it kind of like that for you?
It was so scary, especially because I was like on a high with my career since I was 18 years old. Even before then, I mean, it was a minimal amount of rejection, but I was on fire. Like, I worked all the time. And especially when I left New York and moved to LA when I was 20, then I was like the girl from New York, the novelty, like, oh, she's from New York. She must be actually talented because, at the time, that was the view of LA versus New York. I don't know what it is anymore, but, so I worked all the time and it was easy for me to get into rooms surely on the fact that I was a New York actress. And then once One Tree Hill was over, the industry had largely forgotten about me. And when I came back, it was a tough pill to swallow to be not on that high anymore. Plus, I just moved back to LA. I finished the show. I was in the middle of a divorce, and I had a 1-year-old daughter that I was raising on my own.
Wow.
And I had mentioned this in an article earlier, but through some bad decisions of my own, I mixed up with some white collar criminals that took a lot of my money. So I was basically like back in LA after having worked my whole life, basically broke in a divorce, single mom, and like couldn't get arrested. And it was like soul crushing. I mean, that was really tough.
Joy, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but we would literally lose our cards as interviewers if I did not. This is white collar criminals. Is there anything else you can give us there? Like, can I hear a little bit? I don't want to like wallow in your suffering. However, you said white collar criminals.
This is what we call good stuff.
I've got to ask. I've got to at least try. Joy, what happened there?
It definitely is too heavy of a story for me to launch into right now, but I can tell you it was just I was young and I just trusted the wrong people, and I was in there was a lot of control and just mental abuse around some of the environments that I was in at the time, and at some point when you're in that situation, it's just easier to not fight anymore and just be like, okay, fine. Like, I'll just let go, and, I'll stop asking questions. And so I did. And it's just my money just got like siphoned off without me really knowing. So when I left the show and moved to LA, I was kind of surprised to find very little in my bank account. And, that is something that was so hard because actors coming off of a show for that long, you're supposed to have this like bank full of money so that you can go and be like, all right, I worked my ass off and now I can create all the projects I want to create. I want to direct, I want to make, I like this script. I want to make this script. My friend's got an idea. Let's make your dream come true. You have all these ideas that you want to do, and you have the resources to make it happen. And then I didn't. And then I was like, I'm testing for things, but I didn't have my mojo because I was just in such a weird place in my life. And that breeds desperation. And then you go into the room and they feel that you're desperate and they're like, oh, why are you desperate? You were just on a show for 9 years. I don't want that on my set. It's like, it's a serious mind. I don't know if I can say the other word, but you know what I'm saying.
I know.
We're here. This isn't live. You're fine.
Okay.
My heart breaks for you, but also I had no idea that Salty paid that well. It was unbelievable. That is some serious underbelly.
He's good.
Criminal underbelly that I don't want to be part of Salty anymore. No. I'm sorry I even asked. No. So
that's the next episode in that series. It needs to be done. Somebody needs to do a parody on like Salty, the mafia master. Or something.
Salty's just on drugs over there in the corner. Giant Bible. So let me ask you this. You were on a show, you played a character for 10 years. Lately, you do a lot of movies. That's what you're doing, is a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Are you still, like at this point in your career, are you looking to get back into series work, or do you prefer, and we'll talk about Hallmark later, but do you prefer having these 15, 21, 28-day shoots, and then that all done, characters all done, let's do something else? Which do you prefer?
Hallmark has been amazing for me with as a single mother with a young child because of that schedule. Exactly. It's allowed me so many amazing freedoms that I just, there was a point in my life I never thought I would have. So I'm super grateful for it. Now that she's getting older, I'm finally starting to feel like it's easier to do a longer schedule. I miss directing. I directed on One Tree Hill and I want to get back into that. Which I didn't for the last 9 years because, when you're a director, you're the first one on set and kind of the last one to leave. So it's really grueling schedule. But now that she's older, I would love to I would just want to do like a great series this year. I'm dying to. I think it would be so fun. And Pearson kind of reintroduced me to that world and reminded me how much I love being on a series.
What show did?
Pearson, the Suit spinoff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You broke up a little bit and I didn't hear exactly what you said. You've been on so many different shows and movies, and I have to ask, because I love this question as well. If you take out Guiding Light and One Tree Hill and you take out Hallmark, everybody says that their set is a family. Like that's their bit, is their set. Are you there? Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, you had frozen there for a second. That like every set that I'm on is the best cast and crew. It's a family. We all treat each other as a family, blah, blah, blah. Which of all of your other experiences where you were guesting or maybe did a couple episodes, like a Dexter or a Grey's or something, what set really was? Did you walk on and you go, this feels like this feels like these people love being here, love what they're doing. It'd be cool to work on this show every day.
Oh yeah. Grey's definitely felt like that.
Really?
Am I still breaking up?
You're a little bit choppy, but we can hear you. I heard Grey's there.
Okay. I'm on my 5G. I'm not sure why that's not working.
Sounds better now.
Anyway, call me back.
You're good.
Okay. Grey's definitely felt like that. I'm trying to think of Dexter, I wasn't in the room with it was a very different kind of a set.
That was
also
the last season of that show too, and like it was a kind of a disjointed season. They're trying to pay everybody, and they can't everybody have everybody on set anymore. So that made that interesting. Yeah,
nailed it. Yeah, I would say Grey's for sure. I mean, nothing else felt like it, but that was their season 14. I mean, gosh,
that's
talk
wild.
About going on and on. They're just still trudging ahead. It's amazing, and they're all so close and. Yeah, I really liked that environment.
Love it. Let's talk about Hallmark, shall we? I believe your first one was The Christmas Secret in 2014. Does that sound right? Your first Hallmark one?
Yes, it does.
I love that one. That's a good one. 2014 is I feel like right as Hallmark Christmas movies were really starting to become a little bit more of a thing. Like 2014, 15, it's starting to rise. And now you've been doing them, Hallmark movies, for the last few years as well. Talk about how you got into the world and also what it's like, not just as an actor, but as someone who maybe watches the movies, to see Hallmark kind of rise when the rest of cable TV is kind of declining. Hallmark's still doing stuff. So what's that like to also watch and be a part of?
It's a real testament to the fact that people want to feel good and they want to see stories that make their heart warm. And I mean, I'm such an artist. I love complicated stories. I love things that are avant-garde and that make you work to think of what the story means to you. But there's also such a place in me and in so many people where you just want something simple and sweet and something that's is gonna have a happy ending, that you don't have to work too hard for. And sometimes you need that. It's a balanced diet.
Well, what's interesting is that makes a ton of sense to hear you say it like that. I routinely say that you're the best at this. I do. You can go and listen. I know you're a huge fan of the podcast and you've listened to all the episodes, but I routinely say you're the best at this. And the reason that you're that you're the best at it is because you get the bit. Like you get exactly kind of this perfect kind of reduction sauce of what the Hallmark leading lady is kind of supposed to be. And you tweak that for each of your characters, but you understand the beats of the formula very, very well. But it strikes me in looking at your IMDb, I'm not like a huge One Tree Hill guy. I didn't watch a lot of One Tree Hill, but this strikes me as such a departure for you from what you were doing before Hallmark movies. So is the fact that even though the stories are simplistic and they're formulaic, is the fact that these characters are new to you in your career, does that give it some sort of refreshment for you as you take each one of these roles on?
Could you repeat the last part of the question? I got the first part, but
I was just saying that because being this Hallmark leading lady is such a departure for you in your career based upon kind of your filmography and what you've done, is the fact that you've not really played something like this a refreshing part of taking on these jobs? Because I mean, it's not just Hallmark. You're on Lifetime and you're on some of these others. Is it just because I can imagine. I mean, you've done. I'm not going to try to count offhand, but you've done a half dozen of these movies at least, and it could be very easy to go, this is the same bit. The girl meets the guy, they kiss at the end. Is the refreshing part for you the fact that this is just very different than a lot of what I've liked to play in the past, and so I get a chance to dive in and kind of find a way to make it my own in this world where it's supposed to look the same?
Yeah, it's totally that's the major appeal of it to me, is that I did on One Tree Hill sort of have to do one character for so long. And to be able to now have an avenue where I can explore these different parts, I can play with comedy again, and I could play a really shy girl, or a super bossy busybody, or I don't know, something, what would you call it from Royal Matchmaker? I don't know. She was running a business, but still kind of clumsy and just she was like they wouldn't let me use my Jersey accent, but she was the most Jersey girl that they would allow me to get. But that's the thing is and that's what I look for when I look for Hallmark scripts is what can I do with this character where I'm an actor, and actors, we sort of die without the opportunity to put on all these different costumes and hats and faces. So my God, I'm just so grateful somebody is giving me a chance to just pick through some scripts and find something. Yeah, I want to play a princess. Okay, I want to play a social media mogul, and the personality types and the insecurities and the personal struggles that go along with people in those positions. It's so fun for me. It's so interesting. So thank you for your compliment in noticing the nuances. It's something that it's everything to me. I mean, that's why I'm doing what I do. So it's cool.
So you're more than welcome. I have to ask you this. We're going to take 5-Star Christmas out of the equation because we'll have some more specific questions about that. Aside from 5-Star Christmas, because everyone answers their most recent, what's your personal favorite, maybe the memory of making it or just how it turned out, whatever, your personal favorite and your personal least favorite of all of these that you've made?
So Hallmark specifically?
You can throw Lifetime in there as well. That's fine. And then it looks like, what's Poinsettias for Christmas? What channel was that on?
Oh yeah, Poinsettia, that was Hallmark.
Okay.
Oh, that was Lifetime. Yeah. You're right. I would say my favorites have been Snowed In Christmas with Andrew Walker. I really loved that one. I just thought we found some magic there, and we had so much fun making it in Winnipeg. And Royal Matchmaker, because I got to go to Romania and show my daughter around Romania, and filmed in castles, and I was wearing ball gowns, and it was just fantastic. It was really fun.
Okay, least favorite. You got to give me least favorite too. Gosh.
Oh boy. Probably, honestly, Christmas Secret, because it was my first one, and it was before Hallmark had been really booming with Christmas movies, and before it was, and I think I was in such a hard place in my life that movie, I just had such a hard time with that one. It really felt like a money job to me. And I wish in retrospect that I had the appreciation and that I had gone into that job with just an excitement, because there's no reason I shouldn't have. I was just like feeling sorry for myself and being stupid, but so it's all my fault, but that's probably why it was.
It's a really good political answer, Joy. It's a really good.
If memory serves too, like that character was like kind of down on her luck too. Like it was like kind of a sadder character. Yeah. So
yeah. That probably had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, kind of a bummer to do that. Let's talk about 5-Star, because I loved it. It was in both of our.
It was your favorite of the year, and it was my second favorite of the year, behind Deliver by Christmas.
Yeah. It's so fun, so different than a regular Hallmark, because there's just so much just fun stuff going on. It's very funny. I loved it. So talk about it's very different. So talk about it from kind of a traditional Hallmark and what it was like going into. It's a different storyline for Hallmark.
It's different beats altogether.
Different beats.
Like you're
it
saying,
just
the
feels
normal. Yeah.
well, like was there like any direction given from Hallmark upstairs that's just like, hey, just have fun, go be a little bit, wackier, do some different stuff. Talk about that.
Yeah. So, well, 5 Star came to be because I have a good working relationship with Brad Cravoy, who was our producer, and he sent me the script and he said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "This is great. This is really an ensemble comedy. Is Hallmark going to go for this?" And they did, which I just thought was so cool. So. We got our great director, Christy Wolf, who's also a close friend of mine. And it was so fun just watching the auditions and being able to see how this is going to come together, that all these characters have their own storylines. It's not just boy meets girl. There is an obstacle, boy meets girl again, and they come back together. There were so many more layers. So, and I was involved in all of the production phone calls and Skypes and just getting all the notes, and which is super cool to learn how that side of it works. And there definitely was clear instruction, like go for it. Like we want to see what this looks like with Hallmark, on Hallmark, what the response is if we broaden our comedy. And they weren't looking for slapstick, obviously it wasn't Noises Off, but they wanted, I think they were game to experiment, which was super exciting for me. And so that's what we did. We just went for it. And there were some moments when we had to shoot things 2 different ways, where Christy was like, "That's really funny. I love that, but I'm scared. So let's just do it again." And this time, tone it down a little.
Did you, watching the movie, did you notice how many of the really funny takes they kept in? Like, were you watching going, did they keep the thing in I wanted to be in the movie? Was that part of it?
Yeah, I think they kept them all in. I think they really, really went for it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else about it, but that it really, that was the exciting thing, was being able to just do an ensemble comedy and play off of so many people instead of just 1 or 2. It was really fun.
You won ensemble of the year at the Deckies, and I think that's what you were really hoping for. So
if you've not added that to your IMDb page, what are you waiting for?
I mean, Salty gets a shout out, but
if Salty's on there, the least the Deckies could be on there, for love of God.
Yes.
So it does seem like that your movies, not all of them. I mean, look, you did Just My Type. We didn't see Valentine's Match. Did we see Valentine's Match?
We did.
We did. Just kidding. We saw that. We did. I promise.
Not one of Dan's favorite.
But I don't remember it at all. I remember Just My Type. But like Bottle with Love, which I would consider to be for what Hallmark does, I would consider Bottle with Love to be probably a top 5 Hallmark movie. And it has the similar formula, but it seemed you guys got to push the envelope on kind of what it looked like and what it felt like, and some of the humor in that movie.
Hallmark
as well.
did too, though, because like leading up to that movie, they were like, "This is the movie of the year," and you're like, "What? What?"
All of a sudden, they're like, "In a world where Hallmark makes good movies, but
pancakes."
Yeah, but it was weird because it seems like you tend to be synonymous with movies that are at least starting to be distinct for Hallmark. Was that part of Bottle with Love too? When you were making Bottle with Love, you're like, hey, let's do things differently, or you're getting a little bit more freedom, or was that just a happenstance of you and Andrew work well together and it just was a good movie?
I think it's both. I mean, Andrew and I do work well together, and we're constantly sort of rewriting and adjusting dialogue so that it feels like it flows and it fits. And I am, for me, because I'm such a kind of a guttural, instinctual actor, if it doesn't make sense, I can't do it. Like, it has to make sense. And I have worked on films where producers, it drives them crazy because they don't really care if it makes sense or not. They just care that it's it looks good and we're saying the lines that are on the page, and they're getting their, quota in for, we completed what's on the list today and it was done as it was meant to be done. I do not work well with producers like that because it needs to make sense to me. So I'm sitting there going, okay, but why am I saying this if 2 scenes later I say something completely opposite that doesn't make any sense? Well, it's in the script. Okay, well then let's fix it. Let's make it work. So in Bottled with Love, that was a situation where we had a director and a producer who totally cared if everything makes sense. It was really important to them. They were willing to stay up late and go above and beyond to do tweaks on the script, or make phone calls to Hallmark executives and pitch, let's do an alternative version to this scene. Here's how she's supposed to do it that's in the script, but here's our idea. It's gonna take us an extra 45 minutes in our day, but we think this is gonna make it way better. And they went to bat for me and for Andrew. And there were so many things in that movie that turned out the way that they did better than what we originally were planned to do, because they cared. They really cared about the work. And I love working with people that really care. So I think Bottled with Love was a perfect example of that kind of lightning in a bottle magic coming together.
Love it. I have one more 5-star question, and then we'll wrap up with the rapid fire.
Yeah, we're going to rapid fire. Yeah.
The ending of 5 stars is so memorable because old Victor has to sing Blue Christmas, and it's just this charming, goofy scene. Vic's not a singer, so I want to know, one, was that in the script? Because it seemed like kind of something that could be thrown in last second. But 2, what was Victor nervous about it? Like, we haven't talked to Victor, so I don't know him, but it was a very funny scene. It was great. It played really well. But as somebody who's clearly not a singer, who's just putting itself out there, what was that like for him?
Oh boy, he was so great. It was in the script, in the final version of the script. You would believe how many times that script was rewritten. We were still kind of getting pages in after the first day of shooting. Wow. It was so crazy, but it still worked. And he was nervous. Yeah, I think he was. He just didn't want to look stupid, which nobody does.
Yeah. But he even had like the nervous chuckle while he was singing. Like it played. Like he would be nervous doing it, so it played.
He committed to it. He really committed to it. And that's the best way, right? Because as an actor, you don't want to look stupid, but you have to be willing to make a fool out of yourself for the story, if that's what it is. And he did that. So even though he was scared, I think he was like, I don't want to look stupid as in I try and it bombs. Right. I want to be willing to look stupid and it works. It makes everybody happy. And so the only way to do that was just to fully commit to it, which he 100% did. And I just loved it. I thought it turned out great. I'm so proud of him.
Love it. I love it. Let's do rapid fire. We each get to ask you 3 questions. You have to answer. It's really less about the speed and more about honesty. We just want you to be honest here. But if you go fast, that's great too. Dan?
Your most memorable movie you saw in a theater? Not necessarily the best. The most memorable movie theater experience for you?
The Notebook.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, when that was over, I couldn't move. I sat there for a good 10 minutes, I think, while they cleaned out the theater, just cried and let myself just experience that. Yeah.
Wow. What's your worst first date experience?
I don't know if this is the worst. This is just one bad date experience I remember from when I was I was a teenager. I think I was 18 or something. And I went with this guy that I really liked, and this is what a stupid theater snob I was. I went to go see Les Mis with this guy that I liked, and he was not into theater at all. And we're sitting in the Broadway theater watching Les Mis. It's my favorite show. I've grown up on it. And Fantine is laying in the bed, and she's calling out to Cosad, and it's the moment when you can hear a pin drop in her song because she's dying, and he leans over to me, and it's dead silent in the theater, and he goes, "Is she dying?"
So that worked out. You married him right away.
Yeah, instantly I was like, oh, I'm never gonna date this guy again. Nope.
Is she dying?
But I was 18.
No. That guy's dumb. You dodged a bullet. Is she dying? Are you serious?
She's dying.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, that's a classic. I love that. Fantastic. So when COVID is finally over, Lord willing, what is the go-to meal for Joy Lenz in Los Angeles?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to go to Pache in the canyon and I'm going to have a cedar planked salmon and a margarita pizza and a glass of red wine.
Pachos? Pachos? Pache. We've not heard that one yet.
Yeah, Pache in the canyon. Yeah. I'm dying to go sit back down there for a meal.
Man, love it.
You mentioned to us that you're doing some teaching. Everyone's doing that a little bit right now.
Yeah.
What's something that you've
Are
had?
you guys too?
I have a 3-year-old.
I got
so
twin 4-year-old boys, so we both kind of dodged that bullet of like virtual school.
Yeah. What's something that you've had to teach that you were just like, I don't remember this at all. I got to do like an all-night session. Like I got to figure this out because I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, science has been like that for me. I just, if I read along the book with her, I just learn with her, so that's fine. Math, I don't even attempt because, as we've established, I'm terrible with money and numbers, and so I just send her upstairs to the computer, and there's a program called IXL, and she gets on there, and it's like 4th grade math. Click, and they just give her problems, and she solves them for 45 minutes. And
that's great. No, math, is the thing I'm most terrified of. I don't want to help with that at all.
As much as I wanted more on the white collar criminal stuff, the fact that Joy is to the point where she can be, just give herself a hard time. I think that is the closure that we all need.
That's all we need.
So fantastic.
You have to.
Joy, you said you lived in Texas till you were 11 and then moved to Jersey. Is there anything Southern about you still? Like, is there something you're like, man, this is a Southern thing that I do?
Yes. I still love, there's something about sitting in a rocking chair on a wraparound porch that, because I did spend so much time in North Carolina when we were filming the show. So the Southern part of me was fed for many years after I left Texas by being on that show. And I think, I definitely say y'all, and a lot of the isms of being Southern are still very much there. And I joke that I think between being Texan and New Jerseyan, I'm sort of like, I'm optimistic. That's the Southern part of me, but I'm always expecting life to kick me in the ass. Yeah. And that's the New Jersey.
Boy, what a combo.
So I waffle between those two personalities a lot.
Love
I
it.
think.
Fair. Last one, which is this. You like, complicated TV and movies. You're a serious artist, but what's your guilty pleasure? What's something like when you just like, what's your Hallmark Channel, if you will, that you just turn it on and you just want to turn your mind off and just at the end of the day, just watch?
I really love old reruns. I love Lucy and The Twilight Zone and Frasier and I don't know, Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. Like we just sort of I like having those on.
That
on
original
Sunday,
Nick at Night lineup. That original Nick at Night lineup from back in the day. That's what I'm talking about.
I love it. She's frozen, so that's a good point to stop.
Yes,
I think we did
I would
it.
say so. Yeah.
I think we lost her.
Please.
Oh.
No, I'm here.
Oh, we did it. Well, this is great
good.
because we're ending. And so tell everybody how they can follow you on the social medias and keep up with what you're doing and your work and stuff like that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yay. Okay. I just had a Christmas album come out and we've got, obviously Christmas is over, but you can still get the record.
Still do
and
it.
I think we're going to do hard copies as well for next year. So all that info is up on BethanyJoyOfficial.com. My movie, So Cold the River, should be coming out later this year. Hopefully we'll be doing some more Hallmark this year. I hope. And on Instagram, I'm at Joy Lenz. And on Twitter, which I don't ever really go on, I'm at Bethany Joy Lenz. And that's, I I don't know. I guess that's the scoop. I'm around.
I love it.
You have been so wonderful, Joy. Thank you so much for your time. We really do
You
appreciate
too.
it.
Thank you guys. Thanks for like just doing so much research and having great questions and just being interesting to talk to. It's really nice. Thank you.
That's just the COVID. We're not that interesting. It's just you talk to one person and it's just this is awesome.
This is great.
You're the best. Thank you so much. We'll have you on another time for sure. And I know it's February, but may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much.